Hello bookworms, I'm Becca and today I'm doing my April wrap-up. I wanted to do a weekend wrap-up last week, but when I went to import the footage and do all of that, apparently I had no space left on my laptop. It started acting all slow and it was a big disaster, so that didn't get done at all. And now it's the end of April, so just gonna do my monthly wrap-up instead. In the month of April, I read a grand total of 4 books, and I had a pretty good reading month. The first book I read was Kindred Spirits by Rowell. I don't have it with me at the moment because I lent it to Caitlin so that she could read it. And if you don't know, Kindred Spirits was a special edition release for World Book Day last year, I believe, and we follow a girl named Elena? I think that's her name. I did a review and I'll link it so that you guys can watch it, but it's about a girl who goes to wait in line at the movie theater for the release of Star Wars The Force Awakens. It's only like 60 pages long. It was a super quick, super quirky read, and the ending made me laugh so hard. I did not see it coming. So if you have a chance to read Kindred Spirits, I would definitely say just give it a try because it's a super quick read and you'll probably be able to enjoy it like I did. The second book I read was Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys, and I love this book. This book absolutely ruined me. It shook me to my core and made me want to buy all of her books because they're fantastic. So basically, this is an historical fiction book about a young girl named Lena. Lena lives in Lithuania, so this is already completely different than any other World War II story than I have ever heard of. And basically this is from the perspective of what Stalin did during World War II, where basically he wiped out the Baltic states. The Soviet Union invaded like Lithuania and deported everybody to labor camps and prisons in Siberia. I didn't learn about that in school, and it made me absolutely furious reading this book, not having this knowledge and knowing that like these stories still really aren't being told. I watched some interviews of Ruta Sepetys, and just seeing how fired up she gets about these stories because it's part of her heritage was really inspiring to me, and I just wanted to scream this story to the world because it needs so much more attention. I know it's a couple years old, but I feel like this is the kind of book that we should be reading in high school to learn about World War II. Like, we can get the knowledge and stuff from our textbooks. We can read books like The Book Thief and Night and all of those, but there's so many other stories that are not being told. I need to stop because I could get so fired up about this book. It just absolutely shook me and devastated me, and I'm pretty sure I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. And I already said that I wasn't gonna do star ratings this year, but because of this book, I was like, I'm doing it. 5 out of 5 stars. And it's gonna be a movie. I didn't know that either, but it's gonna be a movie, so I'm so excited for that. Okay. The third book I read this month was A Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sara Barnard. This book meant so much to me. It's about a teenage girl named Steffi who has selective mutism due to having extreme social anxiety. She really only talks to familiar people like her parents and her best friend, but under the comfort of her best friend, she was able to start talking in school. However, this school year, her best friend has moved on to college. I don't really understand how the education system in the UK works. Just throwing that out there. So she's going back to being a mute, basically. So on the first day of school, the principal introduces Steffi to Reese, who is deaf, because Steffi has a very basic understanding of British Sign Language, so he thinks that they would be good buddies to go through the year with. They develop a friendship, which obviously blossoms into something much more because this is a YA contemporary romance with a deaf main character. I marked it up so completely. This is the first book that I actually used tabs with, and from the looks of it, it's pretty well-rounded. My yellow tabs are spots that I want to remember in the future. My red tabs have to do with like romance elements that I enjoyed. Green are parts that made me laugh, and blue are parts that made me emotional. And a lot of books, that will probably be parts that, you know, like make me sad or cry. It can also be parts that make me angry. And this one, it was a lot of parts where they were highlighting Steffi's internal thought process of having anxiety, and I ended up just as anxious as Steffi was, so I marked those parts. Having representation of deaf characters finally was so incredible to me. Like, so extremely validating. And oh man, I have a review of this book that I need to film as well, and that will be up, but oh my gosh, I feel like everyone needs to read this book. It is so good. I ordered mine from the UK, so you can too. And the last book I read this month was We Are Okay by Nina Lacour. This is about a college-aged girl named Marin. And before going to college, Marin's grandfather died, and she kind of ended up running away to college, like using college as a way to escape the grief that was happening. So as a result, she hasn't really spoken to anyone since she started college, including her best friend, and now it is Christmas break and she's stuck on her college campus because she doesn't have anywhere to go, and her best friend is coming to visit for a few days. While she's there, they kind of hash things out, and it was a pretty quick read, but honestly, this book was just okay. It wasn't super fantastic. There were some parts that made me a little emotional as I did deal with grief. A couple parts that I want to look back on in the future, but I don't know. I feel like Nina Lacour's style just maybe isn't for me. I enjoyed it, but I didn't quite love it. And those are all of the books that I read in the month of April. Also in April, very recently, I hit 400 subscribers, and I am so thankful to everyone. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos and talking to me on my videos. It's almost my 2-year booktube anniversary, so I'm just filled with warm fuzzies. And it was interesting because on the day that I hit like 420 subscribers, a memory popped up on my Facebook, and this time last year I was only hitting like 150. So that amount of growth in just a year is freaking crazy to me, and it just makes me excited for the future. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button right here to see more bookish videos. That's all I got for you guys today. I'll see you next time.